Alrighty, hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. We're on episode 5 today. Super excited to be welcoming our guest today, Saqib Rizvi, who is a meditation and emotional healing coach, spiritual mentor, and devoted lifelong student with over 6 years of experience in conducting one-on-one sessions, group coaching sessions, and workshops. Saqib has helped countless individuals overcome emotional and psychological barriers to achieve their fullest potential. I personally love a lot of Saqib's content. I do a lot of his meditations. Really love his practice. So I'm super honored that he's here. I'm going to get him on stage now. Da, da, da. There we go. Hello. Welcome.
Hello, Vanessa. So good to be here with you.
Yes, thank you. I'm so excited you're here. I'm pretty present in a lot of your sessions, anyways. You can also find Saqib on Insight Timer. I love the app; it's great, and he runs lots of fantastic sessions. I tend to pop into many of them because I really appreciate. I always feel that you really integrate a lot of spirituality, but in a way that I think is very it just makes me think about things a little bit differently, which I really appreciate. And so I'm happy to have you here today to talk a lot about timelessness and manifestation, because it was one of the reasons that I really resonated with a lot of your content in general, because I was kind of going through a lot of that myself, especially manifestation. I know when you and I spoke, one of the things that I loved to hear from you was that there tends to be a very outward focus about manifestation, right? That we're trying to manifest these objects, these things, but I always felt that you were always really the message from you was it's really about what's happening inside of you. So I'd love for you to share a little bit more about that. Again, just sort of that how do we balance this external and internal idea of manifestation?
Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me. And the reason that I'm really excited about this is that you are allowing me to talk about timelessness and manifestation. Because as I think I told you this previously, that podcasts sometimes also tend to just be like an interview, but I'm loving that this is a conversation about timelessness, and I'm really into this topic. So I'm looking forward to this. And yeah, you are right. It's manifestation is an internal experience, and that's what I mean by timeless manifestation. So just to give a background to the listeners, excuse me. Timelessness is the idea that there is no past or future, and that these are just linguistic constructs. And this has been talked about since ages, mystics and philosophers and scientists and whatnot. And Albert Einstein showed this through the theory of relativity, that time is something which is not a fixed thing. It's more of relative. It's more of defined by us. And there is also a wonderful hypothesis. It's a controversial hypothesis. It's known as Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. In fact, there is this whole movie made on this, which is called Arrival. And this hypothesis is that it is language that makes us experience reality. It is the way we understand language, the way we use language, that's how we see our world. And there are like studies done on different tribes. Like, for example, if a tribe cannot if a tribe does not have a, or if a culture does not have a defined word for the color green, they will not see the color green, and they will not be able to differentiate between the color blue and green. So similarly goes for timelessness, that time itself is a linguistic construct. And because we use tenses like past or future, that's why we are attached to these ideas. But actually, if we just become aware of what's happening around us, it's just the present moment, it's just right now. And what we are saying is we are measuring change, and when things change, we are calling it that time is passing, but it's actually a linguistic construct. So based on this idea comes the idea of timeless manifestation, that Manifestation is not something in the future, which we usually think. Law of attraction. I want, $1 million. I want a car. I want this house, and I will have to wait for it. It will come in the future. Now, all that is wonderful, but it's the timeless manifestation is the idea that why wait, right? Why not right now? Why not shift myself into that feeling of abundance rather than depending on that external thing and waiting for it? I can right now in this very moment shift into abundance and feel abundant, rather than letting that $1 million or that house give me that happiness. I can choose to be happy right now without waiting for it. So yeah, this is the idea.
Right. And I mean, and I absolutely love that. And I love what you're saying about this linguistic concept. And you mentioned Einstein's theory of relativity. One of the theories of kind of the universe that I always really took an interest in was Dr. Carlo Rovelli's loop quantum gravity theory. And he kind of builds on a lot of what Einstein discovered with the theory of relativity. And one thing that he says in his books is there was one of his books talks about how the past, present, and future are the present, essentially, right? Like it kind of is all happening at the same time. And that's kind of what I hear you saying too. It's like we kind of already are what we want to manifest. We just have to like really become aware of that. And so I really appreciate that thought. And I think it's something that I hope resonates with everybody listening because we already are everything that we want to be. And it just really, I think it really gives that perspective of we really can create anything that we want for ourselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is within us right now. Everything is right here. It's just about choosing that potential. It's just about, it's like first it has to be internal. The problem, when we talk about manifestation, it's like it's the model that we follow is have do be, which means that first I will have money, and then I will do what I love to do, and then I will be happy. But the whole idea is to reverse that. Be, do, have. Right now, I will be joyous, be abundant, and then I will do what I love to do, and I will have what I want to have. So it's like a reverse process that rather than going outside and we go inside out, that I will be abundant right now first, and automatically I will become like a magnet and I will attract everything to myself versus trying to get something out there.
Right. Versus like always trying to chase something. I think that we're kind of in that mentality in this, especially now in this modern time with social media. It's like we're always chasing after something or, chasing money, chasing this, chasing that, that we're not actually really making conscious decisions about, well, do I actually want this thing that I'm chasing? I've had that happen to myself. It's like I'm chasing something. I'm like, wait a second, I don't even think I want this. I've just been told I'm supposed to want this, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing is that the feelings we crave out of those things, the thing to ask is, why do I want that money, or why do I want that house? It's not about the object, it's about the feeling that it gives me, right? So if it is about the feeling, if how what if I figure out how to generate that feeling right now, rather than waiting for that object to come and that giving me that feeling. So now we have a lot of research done. There is a wonderful institute in US, the Heart Math Institute, which talks about the science of the heart, and it talks about how we can actually generate those feelings at will. We use our heart center. We have forgotten the power of our heart. We can use our heart center to generate those feelings right now. Like right now I can maybe do a meditation or do a practice through which I can simply maybe just place my hand on my heart, just breathe in and out of it, and I can generate those feelings, just feel good inside. So if I can feel good inside already, then why wait for all those things, outside of myself? And this is what the monks and the mystics, they have understood this already, and that's why you will see that the fact is that the happiest man on earth is not a billionaire; it's a monk. And if that's the case, we really need to question the idea that is happiness something about external or is it something internal?
Right. And I think the other thing that's really interesting is I remember going through your, going through your practice, your manifestation practice, and there was one of the, I guess you could say, like, parts of it was the visualization portion. And
Hmm.
so sometimes, just because what we're saying now, we're talking about, creating that within us, right? And then I
Hmm.
sometimes found, though, that it conflicted when I was being asked to visualize. I could, in
Yeah,
my mind, I'd be like, but what am I visualizing, right? Like, if I'm not supposed to be external facing, I'm supposed to be creating this within me. So
yeah,
I always felt tripped up with that. I was always like, what exactly am I supposed to be visualizing? So I'm very curious to hear, what your intention is with that.
yeah. No, I totally get you, and I would say that the visualization practice is actually a tool for generating that feeling. The way I was talking about, excuse me, the way I was talking about the heart being a tool for generating that feeling. Similarly, the visualization practice, generates that feeling. So some people find it difficult to generate that feeling without visualization, right? There is this idea that why should I be happy for no reason? But I believe that we should be happy for no reason. But if we see someone, on the street just laughing and dancing for no reason, we think that that's a crazy person. Why is that person happy? So it becomes then, if we have this idea that we cannot be happy without any reason, it becomes difficult for us to generate that feeling of just being happy in the moment. So then visualization is used as a tool to bring that internal feeling. So when I'm visualizing what I desire, I am actually generating that feeling. I can generate that feeling of happiness right now in this moment. So I totally agree with you that visualization can also potentially take us away from this moment. But also for someone who finds it difficult to generate that feeling, it is also a good tool.
Right. Okay. And then that sort of leads to the next part of, being able to visualize but not being so attached to that outcome, correct?
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Because it's all about not being too fixated or specific. Let's take an example here. Let's say if I love a person, and I'm very desperate for that person. I'm saying that I really want this person. I want to have my life with this person. And then what I do is, and I have done this previously, so I'll be honest with you. And then what I will do is I will visualize a life with that person. Oh my God, we are having a wonderful life. We are married and we are this and that. Now, what happens, lo and behold, after 6 months you find out that it's not working out. You manifested this person, but the relationship has changed. You don't feel love anymore, or there is conflict and you decide to part ways. So then what happened there? The problem was that I fixated on one person. I became too dependent on that one person for experiencing love. So rather than having this general idea or having an open manifestation for love, I got fixated on one person, and that is not giving me happiness. But love is not about that person, right? Love is you can get love from everywhere and anywhere. It's not just fixed on one person. So that's the problem with being very specific with visualization. When I get fixated on an idea, I might manifest that, but it might not bring me happiness in the long run.
Right. Interesting. Okay. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that example as well. I think that's probably a very common one for a lot of people. And so I think I think it's just, it kind of takes that idea away from just the relationship in general and really focusing on, maybe connection instead, or that whole, I guess, that whole vibration, right? Because that's really what it is, like creating that energetic field that you can
Yeah.
kind of live within yourself, and then, I guess, maybe project that outward or share that outward, that kind of thing. Is that fair?
Yeah, it's you're absolutely right. Getting into the vibration, of love. Now, coming back to the same example, if I wish to manifest love, then rather than again being fixated on that person, what I do is I generate the vibration of love. As you said, I become love myself. I for the question is, am I loving? First of all, is my heart open?
Hmm.
And if I'm not in that vibration, it will not I will not attract, because like attracts like. And if I am loving myself, and someone who, when I do one-on-one sessions and someone asks me that, "Saqib, how do I manifest love?" I simply say, be loving yourself, and you will automatically attract that energy. The more loving you are, the more you will attract that. So it's all about being in that vibration of love.
Right. I really appreciate that, and I thank you for sharing that experience. The other thing that I was hoping to discuss today, and I think it sort of relates to what you were talking about, the timeless manifestation, but I think just the like the concept of time a little bit as well. I know that I was in one of your last sessions on Insight Timer, and we were talking a lot about time being eternal, which I really, really, really liked that thought. So I was hoping, because we're talking about manifestation, how does that really, how do those two concepts kind of work together in this concept of manifestation?
Yeah, sure. So when we talk about mindfulness, or when we talk about what the mystics or monks or all these people have been saying, that or even the philosophers or scientists, that time is an illusion and the only moment that exists is right now. It's important to understand the reality of this. It can just be a statement. I can understand it intellectually, but I really have to reflect on this. And if I ask myself that, where is the past, where is the future, i will I will come to a realization that it is just in my thoughts, right? What is the past or what is the future? The past or the future, the past is a memory, and the future is a thought, right? And that memory is also like a thought. Now if I go beyond those thoughts, if I then let's say, if I, although it's difficult to do that, but if I stop thinking, then I will get to a place where there will be no past and there will be no future, because I cannot think about the present moment. The present moment is just there. So now there have been multiple experiences where people, when they are totally present in, let's say through meditation, or through an out of body experience, or through even psychedelic experiences, or through even a near death experience, people have connected to this timeless self. People have connected to this eternal part of them. And they have realized that uh, they have, some people even remember multiple lifetimes, and they remember they had multiple lifetimes, and they have this feeling, they have this deep inner knowing that, I am eternal, that my consciousness is eternal. It's not something, which is limited. As science also understands that energy cannot be created nor it can be destroyed, my consciousness is something, and this is what the spiritual awakening is all about, that my consciousness is something which is eternal. So then if I am eternal, what and I if I can connect to that eternal self of mine, then everything I need is already here. We use these terms, in if we talk about religion, we use these terms, omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent. All these words are used for that god which we think is external. But what if we are that? What if we are omnipresent? What if we are omniscient? What if we are, we are eternal, and we have all that infinite potential within us? So that's what timeless manifestation is all about, that you let go of any idea that you are limited. You let go of, this doubt, because all these doubts come from self-worth issues, which are given to us by the society, which says that, you are limited and you will die off with your body, and you are just this limited meat sack. You don't have an existence beyond that, and you are here for just mundane things, just to produce and consume and to work 9 to 6. And that creates, self-worth issues in us. But when you connect to that eternal self of yours, you know that all those things that society tells us that we need, I already have that. I am already whole and complete in myself. And when you become that person, automatically you start attracting all those things. If you want, right? If you want, automatically you will start attracting. I want to ask you, Vanessa, have you heard this people saying this, that, the day I stopped running after money, money came into my life,
Yeah.
right? So that's what happens. What is happening here? we are connecting to our wholeness. We are realizing that we are already abundant. And once we feel whole, automatically our self-worth, self-respect increases, and automatically we start attracting all those things. And now, rather than being desperate, now I am more attractive. Now people are attracted towards me. Now money is attracted towards me. Now anything that I wanted automatically comes to me. So yeah, that's a long answer to your question.
No, it's a great answer. Lots of things to think about, and I think it's a very inspiring message. Right, it's about us and our wholeness and our connection to self, and how we can feel whole and how we can feel that love for ourselves, which I think is a really beautiful message. And I think it's a great message to leave everybody with today. So I want to say thank you for coming on the show. Anyone who's interested, I think Saqib right now has a promo for a course to find your spiritual freedom. There's a promo code here in the little fortune cookie. I will also leave it in the description when I upload this to all the podcast sites. You can also check out Saqib on Insight Timer. I'm also on there, but I love, I always pop into a lot of his sessions. They're always very, yeah, I just find that I always leave with something to reflect on and something to think about with it, which I always really, really appreciate. And then, of course, a lot of your meditation practices are very, very, they're great. Honestly, they're really great. And I feel I've grown spiritually just from beginning to listen to a lot of your practices. So I'm really, really grateful.
Thank you so much, Vanessa. I'm humbled, and I think what I expected, that's what I got. I truly enjoyed this conversation. So thank you so much for doing this.